Seems like I don't count. That's what my sister said when the seating chart placed me outside beside the trash bins. The hallway carried a mix of lilies and disinfectant. From inside, I could hear the DJ counting down to the first dance. My mother fixed her pearls. My father avoided my eyes. I tightened my hold on the gift I had wrapped the night before, adjusted my deep wine dress, and stayed silent. No arguing, no crying. I stood and stepped out into the Vermont air. 5 minutes later, the chandeliers dimmed, and a scream split the room in two. This is what happened after. The Vermont air felt sharp that morning, the kind that smells of pine and wealth. My sister Laya had picked the lakeside resort for its European feel, the sort of place people photographed just to prove they were invited. The glass ballroom faced the water, decorated with orchids and candles floating in crystal bowls. Every table inside shimmered under chandeliers. Mine apparently was next to the trash bins. I had driven alone for 3 hours from Boston, replaying Mom's last message in my mind. Please, Amber, no drama today, it's Laya's day. That's all I had ever been to her. A reminder, a caution sign, stay quiet, don't take up space, don't remind anyone there's another daughter. Growing up, we were the stereotype from family portraits, the golden child and the silent one. Laya had ribbons and trophies. I had report cards no one noticed. She would cry and be comforted. I would fix things and be overlooked. Mom said I was the easy one. Dad said I was independent. Both meant the same thing. Being invisible was convenient. The last time I saw all of them together was Thanksgiving 3 years ago. I remember the house smelling like burnt pie crust and lemon cleaner. Laya was in Portugal with her new boyfriend, and for once, everything felt light. Mom asked me to grab an old photo album from her vanity drawer. Instead, I found her small brown journal, its edges worn from years of use. I flipped through it out of curiosity until I realized every page began the same way Laya's first day of kindergarten. Laya's favorite meal, Laya's college acceptance. Not a single line about me, not my birthdays, not even my name. When I asked why, Mom smiled like it was a foolish question. You never needed attention, honey. You were always fine. That night, I learned there are two kinds of being forgotten, being lost, and being erased. I thought about that journey as I walked toward the ballroom, my heels clicking on marble. Through the glass doors, I saw them posing for pictures. Mom in champagne silk, Dad adjusting his tie, and Laya glowing in white. She glanced back once, saw me, and smiled the same way people smile at store clerks they don't remember. The coordinator stopped me with her clipboard. "You're Miss Hayes?" she asked. "Yes." Her polite smile faltered as she found my name. "You're assigned to hallway seating." I laughed, waiting for her to correct herself. She didn't. Hallway seating, beside the trash bins. I followed her gesture toward the small folding table near the service doors. From there, I could see the whole ballroom, every sparkle, every laugh. But there was a barrier between us, both literal and not. I placed my gift on the table, a small silver box I had spent hours choosing, and stared through the glass. Inside, Laya was lifting her glass for a photo. Mom adjusting her veil. Outside, I sat in the cold draft, repeating the same lie I had told myself for years. It's fine, you don't need them. But the truth pressed against my chest, steady and heavy. Maybe I didn't need them, but that didn't give them the right to treat me like I never existed. I tried to fade into the background like always, but the hallway wasn't quite. Staff moved in and out through the service door, pushing bins of melting ice, laughing softly. Each time the door swung open, I caught glimpses of the ballroom chandeliers, shining dresses moving, my mother's hand on Laya's shoulder like a crown of approval. Then the laughter changed. I looked up and saw Laya walking toward me, bouquet in one hand, veil trailing behind like smoke. She stopped just before the doorway, her reflection doubled in the glass. Two versions of her, one adored inside, one cruel outside. "Well," she said, tilting her head. "Looks like they finally figured out where you belong." I blinked. What is that supposed to mean? She gave that half smile I had seen since childhood, the one she used before taking all the attention. "Seems like you don't count." The words landed so lightly I almost missed how sharp they were. "Seems like you don't count." Like it was simple math, like I was an error. For a moment I said nothing. My throat went dry, the kind that comes from swallowing too much pride. Behind her, the photographer called out, "Bride, we need you back in the shot." She didn't move. She wanted a reaction, tears, a plea, something to prove her. I didn't do it. I just looked at her long enough for her smile to fall. "You know," I said quietly, "there's always been room for both of us. You're the one who keeps making it small." Her eyes narrowed. "Oh, please, Amber. Not everything is about you. You could at least pretend to be happy for once. I let out a small laugh, the kind that sounds like air slipping through a crack. You made sure I couldn't even sit in the same room. What exactly am I supposed to celebrate? For a moment, her mask slipped. I saw something flicker, maybe fear. Then she straightened, lifting her chin. You always twist things. Maybe Mom was right. You make everything harder, Mom. The name hit harder than I expected. I pictured that brown journal again, every page filled with Laya's life and none of mine. I'm not difficult, I said. You just never like that I see things clearly. She rolled her eyes. You sound just like Dad, pathetic and bitter. Face it up, nobody needs your approval. Not here, not ever. She spun away, leaving behind a trail of perfume and contempt. I watched her go, her white dress brushing the floor, and felt that familiar sting behind my eyes. But this time, it didn't hurt the same way. It burned differently, clearer. When the door shut behind her, I picked up the small silver box from the table. The gift I had chosen the night before, wrapped in patient silence. I ran my fingers over the ribbon once, then placed it into my bag. If they didn't want me inside, fine. But I wouldn't leave empty-handed. Not this time. For a moment, I just sat there, fingers resting on the smooth edge of the box, listening to the muffled music bleeding through the ballroom doors. It was supposed to be their first dance. A perfect scene. I imagined Mom wiping tears, Dad clapping stiffly, Laya glowing under the lights. The same picture I had always watched from the margins. But margins cut deep. I rose slowly. My reflection caught in the glass, still composed. Maybe even elegant if you didn't look too closely. Inside the bag, the silver box felt heavier than it should. I had wrapped it carefully the night before, pulling the ribbon tighter than necessary. It wasn't just a gift. It was evidence, something that could break the image Laya had built from lies. 3 weeks earlier, I had met one of her former co-workers in Boston. A simple lunch turned into a confession, and Laya had been boasting for months about marrying rich, about how easy it was to make Noah trust her. He's sweet, she had said, but naive. A few fake tears, and I get the house, the money, the name. She laughed. My coffee went cold. I hadn't intended to use it until today. Before leaving the hallway, I walked back toward the reception table near the ballroom entrance. The wedding planner was distracted, adjusting centerpieces. I slipped the silver box among the other gifts, right on top of the pile labeled for Laya and No. My handwriting was calm, deliberate. Inside, on top of a crystal frame, was a folded note and a printed stack of messages her coworker had shown me, screenshots and proof. Not a threat, just reality. I stepped back, checked my reflection once more, and straightened my dress. My heartbeat wasn't racing, it was steady, calm in a way that felt unfamiliar. Then I turned and walked toward the exit. The Vermont night hit me in a wave of cold air. The lake shimmered under the lights, a reflection I no longer needed. I could hear faint applause behind me, the crowd cheering for a dance I was no longer part of. For the first time in years, I didn't feel small, I didn't feel invisible. I reached the parking lot, gravel crunching under my heels like punctuation. No dramatic farewell, no speech, just the quiet closing of a car door. As I started the engine, I looked back once at the glowing windows, silhouettes moving behind glass, and whispered, "Let the truth find its way." Inside the ballroom, laughter still floated over the music. A saxophone played a soft note. Glasses clinked. The crowd gathered closer around the couple on the floor. Laya glowed in her heavy white gown, the perfect image she had rehearsed for months. No spun her once, twice, camera flashes turning everything gold. From outside the tall windows, it looked like a snow globe sealed tight, perfect, unreal. Then the silver box was opened. It happened near the gift table. A relative was sorting presents, adjusting ribbons for photos. Someone suggested opening gifts early for the guests. Laya laughed and pulled the ribbon free. The paper fell away. The lid lifted, and inside was the crystal frame, and beneath it, the folded note. Her hand paused. "What is this?" a voice asked. Someone leaned in. The note slipped out and landed face up. Eyes caught the screenshots before she could grab them. A frown formed as the printed messages were read. One line stood out. "He's so easy to handle. Cry a little, and he'll give me anything I want." The music didn't stop immediately. It softened as if the room itself had exhaled. The violinist faltered, missing a note. Laya's fingers trembled. "This is... someone's trying to," she started. Noah didn't speak. He kept reading page after page, each line worse than the last. Jokes about getting him to sign the prenup early, moving her parents into the guest house once everything was secured. The same smirk she had worn hours ago now frozen on her face, brittle and wrong. Who sent this? She snapped. Across the room, her mother-in-law Victoria had been watching. When she heard the name Amber Hayes whispered by a bridesmaid, her expression sharpened. She crossed the floor with calm certainty. I think you should finish reading before you accuse anyone, she said. These were forwarded to me this morning by a stylist you hired. They were in the wrong thread. Color drained from Laya's face. That's not possible. Noah's voice was low. It's real, Laya. The dates match. He turned the final page. A photo of her message. The house will be mine by Christmas. A collective gasp moved through the room. Phones lifted. The photographer froze mid-shot. Someone whispered, "Oh my God!" Laya lunged for the papers. You can't show them that. Victoria stepped between them. You already did, sweetheart. That was when the screaming began. Not loud at first, more like air being pulled out of a room too fast. Laya stumbled back, her dress catching under her heel. No, you don't understand. He's lying. My sister, she did this. Noah's jaw tightened. Amber didn't write those messages. She planted them. Laya shot back. She's jealous. She's always stopped. The word cracked through the room like glass breaking. You did this. You humiliated her today and thought no one would ever see who you are. Every face in the room had turned toward them now. The DJ reduced the volume. A child's voice asked Mom, what's happening? Laya's perfect day was falling apart and she couldn't hold together anymore completely. She turned toward her parents. Do something? My mother Maggie stood pale and rigid near head table, her champagne glass trembling slightly. My father looked at floor lips tightly pressed shut. For once, neither defended her. You knew, Noah said quietly, his voice shaking now. You knew exactly what you were doing. He reached into his jacket, pulled out a folded document and set it on the table. This is an annulment petition. I already signed it. Laya stared at the paper like it was a live wire. You can't, Noah. You can't humiliate me like this. I'm not humiliating you, he said. You did that yourself. Someone turned off the music entirely. The room fell into a silence so deep it buzzed in people's ears. Then came the sound the guests would remember. Crystal shattering as the frame hit the floor. Her voice cracked. She's behind this, Amber's behind all of it. Victoria exhaled slowly. Funny? The only thing your sister did was tell the truth. Outside, I'd stopped by the car engine idling. The glow from the ballroom windows flickered across the lake. I couldn't hear every word, but I heard the scream. It came sharp and high, echoing across the water, followed by the dull thud of a chair tipping. The sound I'd waited my whole life to hear, not out of cruelty, but closure. Inside, Yala's mascara streaked down her cheeks. You'll regret this, she shouted, voice breaking now. No turned away, shoulders heavy. No, Laya, you will. He walked off the dance floor, followed by Victoria, the crowd parting around them like a tide. Mom reached for Yala's arm. Sweetheart, maybe we should step outside. Don't touch me, she cried, pulling free. You all wanted this. You never loved me enough. Her voice dissolved into sobs. Dad spoke quietly for the first time that night. You should apologize to your sister. The words stunned everyone, even Mom. But Laya only laughed, a sound so brittle it didn't reach her eyes. Apologize to her. She's not even family. Dad shook his head slowly. That's where you're wrong. He left it at that, turning away, shoulders sagging as he followed the crowd toward the exit. By the time the lights dimmed and the staff began sweeping broken glass from the floor, Laya sat alone under the chandelier. Her dress, once dazzling, now looked heavy, wrinkled. The bouquet had fallen beside her chair. The same hands that had pushed me away now clutched air, desperate for something to hold. She never saw me. I was already gone. Through the fogged car window, I watched as guests hurried out into the parking lot, whispers trailing behind them. It's all over social media already. Did you see his face? That poor girl? No, the other one, the sister. I didn't feel triumph, just quiet. I rested my hand on the steering wheel and thought about the hallway. The smell of lilies and bleach, the folding chair that squeaked when I sat. How it all started with a seat by the trash cans. How it ended with the truth laid bare in front of everyone who had ever looked through me. Justice didn't always roar. Sometimes it whispered, now they see you. The scream faded, swallowed by the night darkness. The lake went still, again glassy and calm. I turned the key headlights, washing over gravel, and drove away from the sound of my sister's perfect world collapsing behind me. By the time I reached Boston, the sky was beginning to grey. The highway signs blurred past the, hum of the tires steady and low, like white noise after years of shouting I'd learned to ignore. My phone buzzed non-stop in the cup holder. 16 missed calls from mom, 3 from dad, 1 from a number I didn't recognize. I didn't check any of them. The quiet was worth more than explanations. When I stepped into my apartment, it smelled faintly of coffee and rain. The city outside was waking up, headlights flashing across my window. I hung my dress on the back of a chair and stared at it. The deep wine color still flawless, untouched by the night. It looked like armor I hadn't known I was wearing. A new message appeared. Please answer, Amber. We didn't know. That was Mom. She always said that when things finally went wrong, we didn't know. But she had known all along. Every time she told me to stay quiet, every time she'd laughed at Yala's jokes, every time she'd said, you're fine. I put the phone face down on the counter and opened my laptop instead immediately. A map of Maine blinked back at me, dotted with tiny coastal towns. I picked one somewhere I'd never been and clicked book. A week by the water sounded like peace. Before leaving, I stepped out onto the balcony. The city air smelled cleaner than it had in years. Across the river, the morning sun cut the skyline into gold and shadow. They could keep their apologies, their explanations, their versions of the truth. I had mine now. For the first time in my life, silence didn't mean being unseen. It meant being free. At my sister's wedding, I was seated by the trash cans. This morning, I'm sitting by the river. Same silence, different meaning. Back then, it was humiliation. Now it's peace. Sometimes the loudest revenge isn't a scream. It's the sound of your own footsteps leaving the room. They thought I'd always stay waiting for their approval. But I don't wait anymore. I don't beg for space at someone else's table. I build my own. If you've ever been pushed aside by the people who were supposed to love you, know this. Walking away isn't weakness. It's the beginning of freedom. Tell me, have you ever had to walk away from your own family?